I'm Thomas, and these are the top 5 most frequently asked questions on refugium lighting, starting with, what color light is best for a refugium? The majority of refugium lighting available uses a refined hydroponic spectrum containing mostly or only blue and red diodes, producing what is often referred to, at least by me, as a blurple spectrum or color of light. The red and blue diodes focus on the most important peaks for photosynthesis and omit white or full spectrum diodes to try and get the most possible par per watt out of the fixture, since the light doesn't need to be visually pleasing to our eyes. Can I use white light? Absolutely, and in most cases, I still prefer to use a white light over my refugium because it makes viewing and monitoring the macroalgae easier to do, and I find that the blurple color is a little bit hard on the eyes when I open up my stand. The par difference also isn't quite as dramatic as you might think, so you won't suffer a major difference in growth if you prefer to use a full spectrum white light. Just be sure it's still meant to grow aquatic plants or corals, so it contains the necessary photosynthetic peaks for rapid growth. There are also refugium lights like the Kessel A360X that offer both blurple growth spectrum as well as a bit of white light, so you can switch between the two when doing maintenance or checking on the algae, giving you the best of both worlds. How much light do you need for your refugium? How much light you need over your refugium can vary quite a bit, but the general school of thought is that if you want to outcompete the algae in your display tank, then your refugium lights should be providing at least the same amount of par as your display tank lights. Now that doesn't mean you need the exact same light fixture for your refugium, since your refugium is likely way smaller than your display tank. You just need a light source that's going to achieve similar par numbers for that smaller space. Now with that said, if you have lots of fish and you tend to feed a lot, you may find that having a stronger refugium light will perform better at reducing nutrients like nitrate and phosphate, since the macroalgae will be able to photosynthesize at a higher rate. Personally, I really like options that allow you to adjust the intensity because it turns your refugium into a tunable filter. If your nutrients start to drop too far, you can turn down the light, and if those nutrients start to creep back up, you can turn the light back up. When should the refugium light be on, and for how long? While it's usually our instinct to have lighting on during the day, the best time to run our refugium lighting is actually at night while our display tank lighting is off. The primary reason for doing this is to help prevent those nightly pH swings, which in general is just another great reason to run a refugium. While all the corals are photosynthesizing during the day, they soak up CO2 in the tank and the pH stays high. But when the lights go off on the tank, the CO2 can start to creep back up and the pH starts to drop. By running the refugium at night, the cato, or whatever other macroalgae you're using, can soak up that CO2 instead, which prevents the pH from dropping like it normally would. So yes, the refugium light should run opposite to the lighting on the tank all night long. Do you need to tumble your cato, keto, chato, cheeto, potato? The short answer is no, but there is some benefit to doing it. There are some benefits to tumbling your cato, including making sure it gets lit evenly from all sides for maximum growth, which can be helpful to prevent unwanted die-off at the bottom of the refugium where the light has the hardest time reaching. Tumbling cato also keeps it from trapping debris and keeps the refugium area cleaner. It also makes sure that the nutrient-rich water from the display travels through all of the cato instead of just over the top or wherever the path of least resistance is. All of that said, need is a little strong. You don't need to tumble your cato, but it can help. You wouldn't believe how many people make the same mistakes when setting up a refugium, and you don't have to make those mistakes. You can avoid them by clicking right here.